Hey guys, it's Baconton, back at it again, and today we're going to be making another Neopets recipe, specifically the Neopian brownie recipe. This is quite the difficult looking recipe. It's got fondant, it's got shapes, it's got lots of ingredients, a lot of nuts as well, but I think we can manage it. Delicious chocolate fudge brownies with nuts in them. Yum. Pretty concise recipe description, but it'll work, and I think this will be a pretty fun recipe. So, let's go over what we have. First things first, we've got 7 ounces of dark chocolate, 70% cocoa solids or more, 6 ounces of butter, 3/4 of a cup of ground almonds, a scant half cup of all-purpose flour, 1.5 ounces of cocoa powder. In here, I've got half a teaspoon of baking powder and a big pinch of flaky sea salt. One cup plus 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 3 large eggs, 3 ounces of pecans, and the recipe doesn't call for it, but I find that a little pinch of espresso powder helps the chocolate taste, well, more chocolatey. Now this first step takes place over on the stove. We're going to take a double boiler and melt our chocolate and our butter together. So, let's head over. Add in your butter and your chocolate into a heat-proof bowl over a pan of water, making sure the water does not touch the bottom of the bowl. Then bring that to a gentle simmer and leave it there for a few minutes until everything's melted. While the chocolate's melting on the stove, we're going to combine our flour, cocoa powder, ground almonds, the baking powder and the salt, and my secret ingredient, a pinch of espresso powder. We're going to mix all this together. And now we can set this aside until our chocolate's melted. Once everything's melted together, add in your sugar and continue to mix until everything is thoroughly incorporated. Then remove from the heat. Now I've taken my chocolate and sugar off the stove just to let it cool down a little bit. The book doesn't recommend this, but I feel like we should, so that way when we add the eggs, so next we're going to add the eggs, it doesn't all curdle and turn into scrambled egg. I imagine it's probably implied, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to break in my 3 large eggs. There's 1. There's 2. Ugh. Hate the feeling of raw egg on my hands. Now time for egg number 3. Sweet. And no shell. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, I can wash my hands when I'm done. I'm gonna make sure everything is well mixed. There's no streaks of egg, any little bits that haven't been mixed in. It looks nice, which is good. Nice fluid goop. Now it's time to add A into B. But before we do anything else, we have to sort the pecans out, because the recipe calls for crushed pecans, and I have whole pecans. So what I'm gonna do is obviously crush them, and I could chop them, I suppose, or I could make even more work for myself and justify my decision to buy one of these by grinding them in my mortar and pestle. Just kind of crushing them up a little bit. Oh, lost one. Nice. It's fine, but still got a few big bits of nut in it. Now it's time to combine. Add your chocolatey egg, butter, sugar mix into your dry mix. And now kind of fold everything together carefully. You don't want to mix this up too much or else your brownies will be tough. And once everything's starting to come together, we're going to add in our nuts. And fold all that together. Ta-da! Now, let's put this into a pan. Here I've got an 8x8 pan that I have lined with baking paper. And we're gonna pour our batter, or rather, spoon the batter into the pan. And yes, if you don't use a piggy spatula, it won't taste as good. And if you want a piggy spatula, check the link in the description. There should be a link to the piggy spatula. I feel like a sound effect would do well here. I'm going to spread this out in my pan. And then we're gonna bake this at 340 degrees Fahrenheit for around 25 minutes, or until the edges are set and the center is still just a little bit soft. That's how you ensure they stay fudgy. All right, our brownies have been baking for 25 minutes. They're nice and glossy on the top, set at the edges, but still just a little bit soft in the middle. So I'm gonna let these cool completely while we deal with our fondant. Now it's time to make these Neopian brownies. We've got ourselves some blue fondant here, and I'm gonna roll it out into an even sheet, or as even as I can, on a piece of parchment paper to keep it from sticking, until I get a large enough sheet to cover my 8x8 square brownies. This is the culinary equivalent of Play-Doh. It's at times like this I wish I had a fondant sheeter. That'd be nice. I'm gonna check the size with my pan. A little too small. Make this a little bit bigger. Where do you think you're going? And just a little bit more in this general direction. Ah! Stuck. You're not supposed to stick. Ta-da! That is a nice piece of fondant. And now I'm going to take my brownies, place them on top, find out where is the best spot for coverage, and then we'll cut. Taking a sharp knife, cutting right along the edge of the pan. Now I've got my square of fondant. Ball this up and save it for later. Remove my brownies from their pan. Now I will add A to B. Very nice. Just as necessary. Shake off any brownie crumbs, and now we're going to repeat this process with our green fondant to create the landmasses of Neopia. Got myself a smaller ball of green fondant, but we're going to repeat the process. Beat it up a little bit. There we go. And now, I'm going to cut out some little land masses. Now, Neopia's got some really rough edges and little peninsulas and lots of little islands. The brownies don't do a whole lot for representing how Neopia actually looks, because there's no like Lost Desert or like Terra Mountain or whatever the South Pole of Neopia is called. But we'll do the best we can. Gonna cut out some rough landmass-like shapes. There's one. Look, it's, I don't know, Rue Island. Make a little other landmass to go with it. Maybe like a little series of offshore islands. Maybe this is, here's Croak Island right here. Now, there's another one. Look, everyone, it's Mystery Island. Let's make this one the really big landmass of Neopia with its sort of like little three prongs. There. Make some more little islands. Here's that weird like island off the coast of Neopia. Off the coast. Here's a little island. Here's another assorted island. Ooh, I know. Here, even though we're not anywhere near it, here's Lutari Island. Rest in peace. One here, and one there. And for fun, one more little tiny island right here. We need clouds, so I've mixed up half a cup of powdered sugar with a couple teaspoons of water with my piggy whisk, and we're gonna dot them all over our map. We're gonna need a bit more finesse for this though, so I got one of my smiley sticks. Just gonna blob on some little clouds. Need a little bit, just tiny drops. If you use too much or drag it, it's gonna look a bit like someone did something indecent with your brownies. There. Perfect. And there we have it, our Neopia brownies. These look amazing. They smell fantastic. I cannot wait to try these. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you thought of the recipe. Also, if you enjoyed this video and want to get your own Neopets cookbook, I put a link down below to get the Neopets cookbook, as well as our piggy spatulas and our piggy whisk. And I'm going to leave you with a quick question before we close out the video. What is your favorite location in Neopia? Mine is personally Fairyland. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but Fairyland to me is great. I think it's fun. I love fairy caverns. I love the fairy bubble shooting. I like the Wheel of Excitement. I think it's all really good. I like the employment agency. And I also really like the plot, how it kind of crashed down. In case you don't know, it was once in the sky and it is now currently crashed down on land. So I like the evolution of Fairyland, although I don't always love all the fairies. All right, you guys, see you when I see you. Peace.